Hi guys, Crystal Blessings. It's Hibiscus Moon here, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about my recent crystal dig trip. And I'm going to try really hard to stay focused on just the crystal digging part of the adventure. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so I recently returned from a crystal dig trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas. If you're subscribed to my glitter updates, which I send out every week, you've been hearing all the little details, ditties? The ditty details that I've been from the time where the conception of the idea came from, thinking about it, how we were going to do it, and then we decided to go ahead and go. And we rented an RV. The only thing we had planned was our final destination to Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we didn't really have a plan on how we were going to go, the itinerary, the route we were going to take. We decided we were going to play the rest by ear. By we, I mean my husband, Frank, and myself. We did not bring Topaz, and I'm so glad we didn't, because we saw a mishap happen with somebody's pet, losing their pet in the woods. Not good. So anyway, so I gave a lot of the details on why we were going to Hot Springs, what's so special about Hot Springs, the Quartz belt, a lot of the details along the way. We visited lots of springs and caverns. That was all part of the crystal dig trip. So I'm not going to go into that here because I've been doing that in my glitter updates and on my Facebook page all along, so I don't want to be repetitive. If you do want to receive the glitter updates so that you're hearing about stuff that I don't talk about in other places, you can subscribe to that by going to hibiscusmoonlist.com, hibiscusmoonlist.com, or if you just go to my website, hibiscusmoon.com, you'll see tons of places probably all over there to subscribe to that. So anyway, all right, so like I said, I'm going to try really hard to stay focused on just the crystal digging and hot springs part of it. All right, so let's see, how do I want to begin? All right, so we figured out we had to drive through Little Rock. It was the best route coming from Florida to then get over to Hot Springs. And before going there, I knew that I wanted to visit Ron Coleman's mine because I've done a lot of business with Ron Coleman in Tucson when I go to the Tucson annual Gem and Mineral Show. He's a very nice man. The people that work for him, really great. They're a great family, and they've invited us there many, many times. So I definitely knew that I wanted to get there. I know that his brother, Jim Coleman, also has a mine. I did some research on TripAdvisor and sites like that before going out because I wanted to make sure we were going to hit the right places to mine the crystals. And there's a little bit of confusion, like one place will not promote the other place. Ron Coleman's mine really doesn't help promote Jim Coleman's mine, and it's kind of confusing when you get there. People that don't know, they might think it's one and the same. So I just want to use this as a platform to help educate in case you're planning on going to do the same thing. They are two different mines, two different locations, and you don't want to get confused. When you go up the road, the road that takes you to both mines, there's a main road. There's a big sign on the side of the road, and it says Coleman Crystal Mining here. And there's a building there. Now, I think it says Ron Coleman Crystal Mining Turn here. But there's a building right there as well, which is Jim Coleman's like outpost. So people think, well, this is it, and that's it. And then they don't make the turn onto that road to go to Ron Coleman's. So I wanted to do both. I wanted to do Jim Coleman's mine and Ron Coleman's mine and compare the two. There are other crystal mines there too. We just did those two. All right, and then there's the Crater of Diamonds where you get to mine diamonds, and that's a whole other story. We recently had a story of a woman who went there and mined a sizable, I think it was over 8 carats diamond. I happen to know that this area, the Quartz Belt of Arkansas, is the largest single deposit of quartz in the world, and it's the finest quartz in the world. The best quartz I've ever seen, ever, has come from Arkansas. So that was really exciting, and I wanted to kind of go to both mines and compare and contrast for you, so I could tell you, what was up, my opinion. It's water clear, beautiful quartz. So I'm going to show you some specimens here too in a second. First we went to Hot Springs. I just wanted to show you a little map of that. Hot Springs National Park is actually where the hot water bubbles up from. And again, I did a video all about that, giving you the geology on that. But this is just a map of the area. So here's Bathhouse Row, where it's actually historical, built in the 19th century, and there's lots of, see where these stars are? These are all bathhouses where you can go, and they actually pump the water in from the hot springs, from Hot Springs Mountain, and they use that water for their spas, and you get spa treatments and massages, and you go sit in the hot spring water. They just, you know, reroute it and irrigate it into those the hot bathhouse in the bathhouses. So that's a really great experience. And then if you go beyond, this is kind of like a main street, beyond that, and then you turn off, you'll see signs. That's where you actually get to go up the mountain, and here's the road up to the mountain. And you can see where they've capped off the hot springs. They're capped off for a reason, so they're not tampered with and contaminated, because they're used for the bathhouses. They're used for places that make wine and beer and stuff like that. Restaurants use them. But there's a fountain here at the end where you can bring your glass bottles and fill up with your own spring water. And make note that it's hot. It's hot. So you don't want to bring plastic bottles because they're going to melt, and then those petroleums and disgusting chemicals go in your water. So you want glass containers to fill up with your spring water if you want that natural. Ooh, my bottle is leaking. I didn't put this on tight enough. Goodness gracious. All right. Clean that up later. About 15 miles from there is where the mines are. They're in the Mount Ida region. They're actually in a different part of town. It starts with a J. What is it? Oh, I don't remember. You could probably look it up, but if you get in the area, you'll know. It's on country roads, beautiful mountains surrounding the area. It's just gorgeous scenery the whole way there. So anyway, you get to that outpost building, which is Jim Coleman's outpost, and they sell lots of crystals there that they've mined, and lots of other things that they've mined in different areas, not there. And then there is where you buy your tickets to go do your mining for the day. And so Jim Coleman's mine was less expensive. So once you have your ticket, this allows you to go to Jim Coleman's property, which is 11 miles away from this outpost building. And you drive over to that, and you give them your ticket, and they allow you to go mining in the area. And for the day, for as long as you want. And whatever crystals you find, they're yours. If you find none, you know, but they guarantee you're going to find something, and I think you will. Now, here's a tip. If you go after it rains, it's much, much easier to find the crystals, because the rain washes the clay and the dirt off of them, and they glisten and they sparkle, and you can see them a lot easier. It was very hot when we went, and we dressed appropriately. Hats, sunscreen, water, lots of water. Make sure you're hydrating yourself. Gloves are a good idea, but I like to put my fingers in and feel around. You'll see a lot of prospectors do that. You're going to get cut up if you do that, because I have my own little method. So, all right, so we get to Jim Coleman's. You can rent tools if you don't bring your own tools. They're $3 each, and you get $2 back if you return them. If you keep them, then you just bought them for $3 each. I suggest bringing a bucket. Jim Coleman doesn't give you a bag or anything like that. I suggest bringing something to sit on. I just used a folded old towel. Wear clothes that you don't care about, because if they get dirty or stained, I actually didn't get stained. My shoes did get stained, but these are my like outdoor adventure shoes, so I didn't mind about that. Your fingernails are going to get ready, so you know you're going to get all ratted up, and you're not going to have pretty fingernails. I posted something on Facebook of the woman who mined the diamond at Diamond Crater, and someone was like ragging on her manicure, and I'm like, first of all, I wouldn't be ragging on anybody's manicure, but okay, that's a judgment, sorry. But when you're crystal mining, even if you're wearing gloves, your manicure is going out the window. Forget about manicure, even your pedicure, if you're not, unless you're wearing like construction boots or something. And I was wearing outdoor shoes that can go in the water, or I use them for hiking, and they're kind of open so that your feet aren't sweating, and all kinds of clay and dirt and little rocks and little bits got in there too. So anyway, you're not going to come out of there looking like you just had a mani-pedi and been in a spa. No, it would be nice after digging to go to the bathhouse row and then get spot treatments. That would be nice. We had a plan to do that, but we were so tired. All we wanted to do was go back, take a shower, and I'm just turning off my cell phone so it doesn't ring and disturb, and go to bed. And I think we went to bed like at 6 p.m. after we ate. We were so tired. We were so tired. Even I was like ravenous, but then I was getting really, really hungry while out there. You get really hungry because you're expending a lot of energy. But then we didn't even eat. All right. So Jim Coleman's, I was finding a lot of smaller little specimens. I also devised a little system where if you see black, anything black in the clay, on a day where it's not raining, that could be a rock or it could be a crystal. And you want to get in there and, use your rake or your shovel, but don't go banging at things too hard, because if it is a crystal, you might break it off or damage it. So you do need to be careful. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a rock. But sometimes you wipe that clay off and you'll see it's a crystal. And like I said, I was finding a lot of small ones, but super excellent quality. Like this one, water clear. Now it's little, but I'm gonna, hopefully this will focus on this little baby here. Come on, camera. Come on. This one is an Isis. Let me put it in front of my face. There we go. That's an Isis. You see that Isis face, the 5-sided face? And look at how clear that is. Can you believe? I mean, I wish it was larger, of course, but I was finding a lot of little teeny tiny, look at this little teeny tiny baby. Little teeny tinies, really little, water clear. Look at that. A lot like that. And the way I was doing my little system that I devised was dig my hands down into the sand when I found something that was black and just kind of like rub with my fingers until I felt hard edges. And that would tell me it was a crystal. But my system also meant I was getting cut. I was getting sliced, and I didn't care. I felt like I was like Amanda Atkins in Prospectors. If you ever watch that, she's always bleeding while she's digging out her aquamarines with her bare hands, and she's like, I don't care. You get addicted to it. You're finding stuff, and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. And it burns a little bit, but whatever. Went back into the RV later, washed up and put peroxide on it. And yeah, I was wearing Band-Aids for a couple of days, but it was well worth it. If you don't want to get cut up, then wear your gloves. You don't have to use my system to find your crystals. Just be patient and you will find them. Sometimes something might look like a mass, a quartz mass like this, and a lot of the quartz just develops into a milky quartz mass that doesn't really have much going on. But then this one had actual crystals growing out of it too. So that was pretty cool. A lot of the masses that we found like that, we put them in our garden when we got home. And that one doesn't want to focus. Okay, so I was also finding a lot of what I thought was golden healers at Jim Coleman's. And for those of you that don't know, golden healers are quartz that is known to come from the Mount Ida region in Arkansas. And it's different than a tangerine quartz. A tangerine quartz has the iron, the orange iron, on the outside of the quartz, and if you were to properly clean it with an oxalic acid bath, it would come off, and it would be back to clear. A golden healer is said to have the iron embedded or baked into the quartz, so it's not on the outside, it's not on the surface, and if you gave it an oxalic bath, it will not come off. Okay, so that's a true golden healer. Now people are saying they're getting golden healers from all different parts of the world, and from the teachings that come from the original channeled information on what a golden healer is, I've been told, and I could be wrong, that it originally comes from Mount Ida, and an authentic golden healer needs to come from Mount Ida. Okay, so what I found, like I said, I thought I had a lot of golden healers. When I got home and I cleaned them, first with soap and water, brush them, get all the stuff off that you can. I showed some pictures of this again in my glitter updates of what they looked like before and what they look like after, and then I put them in an oxalic acid bath wash to get all the iron staining off, all the clay off. Well, they all came clean. They all went clear, so I didn't have a single golden healer. So I wonder how many golden healers people think they have and they don't do an oxalic acid bath on them. And I have a whole video on how to do that. It's dangerous. It's not, I don't recommend it for everybody to do. Certainly, definitely not without adult supervision. So I wonder how many people don't do an oxalic acid bath wash and think they have a golden healer when in fact it's a clear quartz. Okay, so that was that. All right, so good trip at Jim Coleman, but small specimens. However, look at this one. This one has fairy dusting on it. You see all those little crystals, and I've talked about this in other videos. Now, it's a point that broke off here. It's absolutely gorgeous, and then it grew like this, and what tells me that is that this fairy dusting on the top, all these little crystals settled from falling from the top and settled on the top of the quartz like that. So that's a fairy dusted quartz from Jim Coleman's mine. So that was, I think, the best find from there. On that day, we did not see a lot of people finding a lot of other things at Jim Coleman's. Okay, so that's my experience there. Now, I only spent one day there. It would be interesting to spend an entire week there or go there during different seasons and compare and see how it went for other people on different days and for myself on different days and different seasons and all of that. So that would be a fun thing to do, but, you know, couldn't do everything in one trip. So the next day, the plan was wear the same exact clothes. In case they get, you know, totally damaged, we would have one set dedicated to getting trashed. But the clothes didn't get trashed, and go to Ron Coleman's. So Ron Coleman's was back to that main road, and where that sign was, where the Jim Coleman outpost is, there's a sign that says Ron Coleman's this way. You keep going. You pass the Jim Coleman's outpost building, and you keep going down that road, and it's not that far. Oh, back to Jim Coleman, I did want to tell you one thing. The road, that 11 miles, part of the road is gravel road. It was scary driving it with an RV, but it was a dry day, no rain. On TripAdvisor, I did read some stories on a rainy day. It gets really muddy and people couldn't make it to the mine, which is kind of disappointing because you think that's a great day to dig because it's been raining or just completed raining, but the road gets so muddy, and I can totally see where there's no way you're going to be getting through that unless you have special tires and are able to go mudding. So that's something to keep in mind. Ron Coleman's had paved road the whole way. Yeah, it was really easy to get to. It wasn't too far from that sign. It's more accessible. It's a little bit more. I think it was $20 per person for the day to dig, and then you have the right to go in there and dig, and you keep whatever you find is yours. The specimens we were finding at Ron Coleman's were fewer and far between, but larger. Now, these comparisons that I'm making are just for the day. Don't take this as an overall umbrella comparison, because depending on the area that they've dug out for you to go dig that day, it can be totally different. It can be completely vice versa, opposite, you know, or it can be much better than what I found. It can be completely, totally different. By the way, anybody who wants to discuss about the ethics of crystal mining, I have an entire blog post and video dedicated to that, so I will link that to here. Please don't leave it in the comments because I don't want to start that whole discussion again. I have some very strong opinions about it and about the whole thing on ethics of mining. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that in there in case any of you were thinking it and had some questions about it or anything like that. So I was finding fewer and far between but larger specimens. And people around us that had been there all day, they found like really good places to sit and pockets to hang out in, and we're finding amazing stuff. We kept moving from spot to spot. We were impatient. We also were saying, I'm tired, I want to go eat or whatever, and then one of either Frank or I would get up to leave, and the other one would be like, okay, I'll be right there, and then half an hour we're still digging, because you get so addicted to the experience and finding stuff that you want to just keep going, and you can never leave. But we ended up having to leave because a storm rolled in, and then we had no choice. But I heard everybody saying as they were packing up, oh, it's going to be good here tomorrow after the rain. So Ron Coleman's. Look at these. I mean, they're not huge, but look at the quality. Look at that. You can see my eye through there. Amazing, right? Check it out. I'm really proud of that guy. Beautiful. And if you see what these looked like when I pulled them out of the ground, you would think they were just red rocks. You know, like what? Who cares about that? You would never know this was inside there. Okay, and then look at that. Now this one isn't as clear, but it's a perfect point, and it has an ancestral timeline right there. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Right there. Check that out. It even seems to have a diamond window. I know it's really hard with my hand moving these crystals around. There we go. To focus. Look at that perfect point. So, really nice. And Ron Coleman's has a tour you can do where they take you in the trucks and, you know, you tour the property. You can do zip lining there. They have a huge store. You can purchase wholesale. I think the minimum wholesale purchase is really reasonable. I think it was only $100, but you do need to bring your resale license. Retail, of course, they have commercial licenses, so I guess for those of you that want to mine a lot for reselling, I'm not sure how that works. So yeah, Ron Coleman sells the crystal source water. I posted that picture in my glitter updates and talked about that on Instagram or Facebook, somewhere. I get confused. So it was really a cool experience, really, really cool. Ron Coleman's does not rent out tools. I think you can purchase tools. Yes, you can purchase, but they don't rent them out. They do give you a bag, but I don't like the bag. I like the bucket better, but with the bucket, remember, you're tired, it's hot, don't throw the crystals in, place them in so they're not getting damaged. I'm just trying to think of any little tips, other things that I can show you or tell you. Oh yeah, okay, Ron Coleman's had a contract, and I'm just reading this off of my computer here, that you sign before going out there and digging reminders. Do not attempt to break or bust rocks. Do not take your vehicle into the digging area or on any roads not specified. Those of you that are thinking about bringing children, make sure that they're not a lot of energy kind of kids, because I didn't see any kids there. We didn't know, I shouldn't say that. I didn't see any young kids there. I think they were 12 and older. Not that they needed to be, but they're going to get hot. They're going to get bothered. They're going to get bored if they don't find stuff right away. They might start throwing rocks. You never know. So unless you know your kid best. All right, so I'm just putting that out there. You know, if they have a lot of high energy, it might not be the best place for them. But they might enjoy the retail shop. Let's see, stay off the road leading into the mining pit, remain in the designated digging area. The digging fee must be paid to enter the digging area. No watching, so don't even bother asking. Because there's even crystals in the parking lot. There's a lot of milky quartz points, perfect ones, just laying in the parking lot. Little, but they're there. Parents must watch their children at all times, dig during inclement weather, strong wind, lightning, rain, excessive heat is all at your own risk. There's no lifeguard on duty, so you're on your own. Remain at least 50 feet away from all machinery at all times. Protective eyewear, gloves, and closed-toed shoes are strongly recommended. One thing that I'm thinking about now is both Jim and Ron Coleman's are actively digging for their own retail purposes, and so they have areas where their workers are digging, and obviously they've found some good pockets. They know there's some good stuff there, and it's not roped off or anything, but they've designated that as an area that you cannot go in, because it's mainly because it's dangerous. They're busy, they're working with heavy, big machinery, and they don't want you anywhere near there. Remember that protective eyewear, gloves, along with digging tools are for sale in the gift shop. I recommend you bring your own, and there's nothing wrong. You can totally bring your own. Like I said, I did some research before going, but I didn't see a lot of this information out there, so I'm just putting this out there so that people have it for future use if they need it. Remember to stay hydrated. Refreshments and bagged ice are available in the gift shop. Again, you can bring your own. I highly recommend doing that. Pets are welcome in the digging area, but must remain on a leash. Ron Coleman Mining assumes no liability for loss, injury, or death of pets, which can totally happen. So be mindful of that if you're thinking about bringing your pets. Due to loose rock gravel in the digging area, running is prohibited. And I'm going to also add that sprained ankles is also a possibility because your feet are not on level ground, and so be very careful. You're on steep slopes, rocks that move and fall, so be very careful. A walking stick is even helpful if you're going to be moving around. But the best thing to do is find your spot and just sit down and work patiently. That's the best thing to do. I just wanted to show you some things I found in the hot springs area in a gift shop. I vowed not to go out buying crystals there because I already have an inventory that I haven't gotten around to selling, and it's not meant for me. I need to get rid of that stuff. So there was plenty of beautiful things that I could have bought. I'm not having any regrets on anything though, but I gave myself that parameter: no buying crystals. We're here to dig. But I did find, I did pretty good, and I did find just 2 pieces that I thought we would love to share. Actually, Frank found this. It's a beautiful ocean colored fluorite pyramid, and there's a rainbow in there. I don't think we're going to capture that right now, but it's gorgeous. It's just a little bit purple on the bottom and some aqua and beautiful gorgeous blue at the top. You can see a little bit of that rainbow there. And then for teaching purposes, that's how I justified this. Teaching purposes, I found this fluorite slice with all the different colors of fluorite in it. Isn't that beautiful? All the different colors, the aqua, the purple, the clear, the green, the indigo. It's gorgeous. So I had to get that. That was in a really cool crystal shop. It was huge. They must have a big online space, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was on Bathhouse Row at the end, right before you turn to go to the hot springs fountain. I just want to say, the experience of pulling them out of the earth, me being a crystal junkie, I have, done every aspect of working with crystals, meditating with crystals, crystal healing, figuring out a crystal healing method, selling crystals, purchasing inventory, going to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. But the only thing I had not done, being in Florida, there's not an opportunity because Florida does not grow crystals. I had not mined any for myself. And it was something I really, really wanted to go and do and experience. And the experience of connecting with the crystals and the earth and birthing them, being there and being the discoverer, just as they're about, there's so much to say. I mean, thinking about and I found some smaller than this, thinking about little babies like this and how the quartz starts its life and then grows into something beautiful and gorgeous, and, even just getting to this stage and some going much, much larger than that. I mean, Ron Coleman's has a museum there of some extremely large pieces, and you've seen my videos on Ron Coleman's large pieces that they've mined there that are beautiful quality. I mean, it's just amazing to think what goes on over the millions of years growth process in the quartz and the crystal and the consciousness that's building inside of it, what's going on there at the quartz belt in that area, and just being able to experience that aspect, I think, has made me a more well-rounded crystal junkie. So giving me that aspect of it, now I feel like I've tapped into all the different areas. It's just adds a whole new facet to immersing yourself in this crystal world. So I just wanted to express that all to you, and I hope you do get the chance to go and mine one day, or just live it vicariously through this whole experience. All right, everybody, have a great day. Namaste. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.